Hi everyone, thanks for watching. I'm Nihal Advani, founder and CEO of QualSights. And today I'm going to be talking to you about mixing and matching qualitative methodologies, but not qualitative technology suppliers. To begin, let me give you a bit of a background on QualSights. QualSights is a software platform that's all about bringing the best of qual tech in one place. And the reason for that is that we've realized that to truly get to deep insights, to truly understand consumer behavior, consumer wants, and get great insights, you need the flexibility to mix and match methodologies and create designs or design projects to truly get to those insights. And that's what's got us to where we are today. But in today's session, what I'll be doing is starting off by talking about the problems facing the qualitative world today, specifically around technology platforms, then go into how we're addressing those problems at QualSights, and finish up with an actual demo of QualSights to actually bring to life the value when you have the ability to mix and match methodologies and truly design studies in a deep way. So to begin, let me talk a little bit about the problem. The way we classify the problems of qual technology tools today is pretty much in three different buckets. The first of which being project design. Today, qualitative tools tend to be limited to narrow things. They tend to typically do one thing. And while that's nice in certain ways, it tends to lead to inflexibility in terms of being able to design projects to get you to deep insights and mix and match methodologies, like I mentioned, which tends to be very important to get to deeper qualitative projects and deeper, better insights. There tends to be a trade-off thereby also between depth or context. You either get context or you get depth. And that also tends to be a challenge. And then some tools that do give you a couple different methodologies don't tend to really seamlessly integrate them. They tend to be also in sort of mini silos. And therefore, while you may be using one maybe supplier that has a couple of methodologies, they tend to be quite separate and therefore not giving you the full value of truly integrating those methodologies. The next bucket being participant experience. Today, there's a lot to grow as an industry in general in terms of participant experience and what we can do to make it easier and better for our participants to provide data to us, and the way to capture those data from the participants and improve make it more user-friendly, improve interfaces and UIs to make it easy and relevant to participants and have it timed appropriately in terms of moments that they're capturing and at the minimum amount of involvement with the maximum amount of value from a participant perspective. At the same time, today what we're seeing and what we're hearing from our clients is when working with tools, what tends to happen is there ends up being a lot of incomplete responses, specifically around asynchronous activities. And I'll talk a little bit later about how we're kind of solving that challenge today. And then finally, let's talk about analysis. Of course, capturing data is only one part of the equation, right? And analyzing qual is another huge part, and especially with qualitative it being unstructured, there tends to be a lot of work involved in analysis. And today, some tools either don't help with that, or when they do, it tends to be limited to the basic things like transcriptions and translations. And therefore, it still ends up being a lot of time for you to be able to analyze studies and basically, therefore, not being able to really get to your end results and insights and reports fast enough. So switching gears and talking a little bit about what we at QualSights do to kind of overcome these challenges. First, let's talk about project design again. We've actually built a really, really flexible tool, very broad as well as very deep at the same time. But the key being, this is built from the ground up to talk to each other. You can seamlessly mix and match methodologies to bring to life the consumer, whether you're doing an empathy study, whether you're doing a contextual study, something around mobile qualitative perhaps, whether you're doing interviews, being able to mix and match these, for example, being able to do a diary study with consumers and then doing interview follow-ups, being able to do homework for focus groups and then being able to do a focus group with that, mixing and matching different media types, because you're not just limited to video, but being able to do photo and audio and screen capture for digital, really truly helping you get the context, not just in the physical world, but also in the digital world, not just on mobile, but also on web if need be, and being able to engage consumers in a variety of different ways. And not just having qual, of course, we are a qual platform, but we're kind of blurring the lines between quant and qual by allowing you to integrate, and this will be better seen in the demo I'll show you, but integrate quant into qual, quantify qual, but also blend the two together so that you can get structured responses as well as the why behind the what. at the same time, as well as being able to trigger activities and mix and match, but also trigger those activities at different times of day. So to kind of really structure your project, but also automate the execution and the capturing of that project in a seamless fashion. The other thing that we are doing in the participant experience perspective is making it super simple so that anybody, whether it's a young kid or whether it's an old adult, being able to actually use the app in a really easy to use fashion with very specific, clear instructions, with a very clear list of activities, being able to actually, as mentioned earlier, trigger those activities when they're due, remind participants automatically if they're behind on something, and therefore make it easy and convenient for participants to do. We also integrate on-screen prompts to make it easy for them to actually follow along and give you deep, articulate responses rather than having to memorize questions and then try to answer them in a video, for example, and to be able to capture moments as they happen, truly in the moment, and being purposeful around that when you're doing something contextual. And of course, making it easy, even while you're doing all of these, if your project design calls for mixing and matching different media types, mixing and matching an interview with diaries or other kinds of asynchronous activities, making it easy for the consumer to have one platform and a seamless way to be able to click a button to complete this activity versus that activity, and making it easy for them to do things like scheduling when you have live videos and things like that as well. From an analysis perspective, like I mentioned, analysis today is a big part, and today it tends to be something that still ends up taking a lot of time because just that's the nature of Qual. And so what we're doing is constantly innovating week over week in terms of how we can push the boundaries to make AI your assistant. It's not here to replace the human, it's here to kind of make you much faster and much better, and be able to help you find the moments that matter fast to be able to get you into insights and results quickly. But beyond just AI, being able to have collaborative features so that your entire team can work together and tag things and bookmark things and quickly share and clip things, put them into a presentation, and then leverage AI beyond just the basics, right? Beyond just transcriptions and translations into keywords and topics and thematic insights, being able to have automatic video clips, even if you have long form video, being able to automatically have videos clipped for you to highlight certain moments and bubble those up for you, make them searchable and easily available to be able to then throw into a presentation and put something together quickly. And also we realized that each person, each researcher has different ways and different preferences as to how they like to analyze. So if they're text kind of based analysis folks, being able to give them tabular formats to do that. If they are visual analysis folks, being able to give them ability to quickly find moments visually as well, and kind of allowing multiple paths to the final result. So with that, I'd like to kind of go more into kind of talking about CallSights as to how we kind of really provide that flexibility. And so one last slide here before we get into the demo is to kind of show you how with CallSights you can actually truly do any Qual methodology, whether that be mobile ethnography, mobile diary studies, where you're doing things over multiple days, whether it be blending quant and Qual, like I kind of talked a little bit about earlier, truly kind of blurring the lines between quant and Qual by having, for example, a video survey, something where a consumer is on the phone and answering questions visually, but at the same time, and visually and verbally, but at the same time being able to provide structured responses and answering quant questions, but at the same time giving the why behind the what, and therefore giving you the depth as well as the structured response at the same time. Being able to, of course, mix and match interviews and focus groups and mix and match them with other things. You could do a video survey with mobile Qual and ethno and diaries with interviews and all of this stuff right within one project. And also other types of interesting things, which I'm not going to get a chance to cover today, like sensor data capture to get true passive data capture from consumers. But doing all of that with any media, right? So while of course video is a big part of Qual today, you're not limited to just video. You could do, and even within video, of course, you've got live video and interviews and things like that, but you've got asynchronous video. But then you have photos, you have audio, you have screen capture, if you want to kind of capture the digital world in addition to the physical world. And blending activity types. What we find though, 80% of the time, our projects tend to be mobile based because we are mobile first. We are focused on helping with contextual and behavioral insights. And therefore having it on a smartphone with consumers being able to kind of truly do things in the moment and be triggered different activities really lends itself really well in terms of getting those kinds of insights. Yet at the same time, if you need a larger screen, if you want to do an interview and you want to show large stimuli or text-heavy stimuli, you're able to do that. So you can kind of have both computer and phone as it makes sense. I already talked about mixing quant and qual within QualSights, but we also play really well with any quant partners. So whether you're working with a Zappi or Qualtrics or whatever it may be, you can actually seamlessly integrate a quant study into a qual study where you can do essentially thousands of people, maybe survey them on something, and then have a subset of those folks come into QualSights for a deeper approach around certain things that maybe were flagged based on the quantitative questionnaire. But do that automatically, or vice versa. Start off with the qual, test the concept perhaps in a more deeper fashion, but then extrapolate that into a larger group with quant. And then other things that could be useful as well, like scanning barcodes, right? Being able to truly get not just claim consumption, but actually validate that consumption or validate the products that somebody has, and much more. And I won't be able to kind of cover today, but that gives you a quick sense around the kinds of possibilities we have. And now to kind of bring this to life, I'm actually going to go into a demo and show you exactly how this works. So I'm going to go into here a home care project. This is a home cleaning study. And it's one that involved multiple different activities to kind of show you how the platform works. I'm going to kind of skip between a few different activities that we use to capture these insights, and then move into the analysis to show you the backend and how that piece works to help you analyze faster as well. So what you're seeing here is a consumer as part of the study doing an interactivity. This is the first activity. It's a pretty common thing to do within studies, to have somebody introduce themselves, answer a few different questions. And what you're seeing here is the consumer is using a smartphone, but this thing at the bottom, these tasks and questions, it's actually a proprietary feature of QualSights where we can actually integrate them into the video. So the consumer is actually seeing herself, but also seeing these tasks and questions on her screen. This way, allowing her to proceed through a series of questions, almost do a self-moderated interview, and therefore be articulate, give you deep responses without ever having to memorize, like some other platforms force consumers to do, is to memorize 5 or 6 questions and then answer them in a video. But then that's how you tend to have incomplete responses, because we're human and we'll forget maybe question 5 or 6 in a list of questions. And so let me play this back so you can see this.
Okay, first, please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about who you are and who else lives in your home. All right, so hi, my name is Taylor. I live at home with my parents. It's just the 3 of us. I just graduated from school, and because of coronavirus, I'm not moving anytime soon to my job, so I am just living at home for now. How much of the cleaning do you do in your home? I would say I do some of it. I pretty much take care of everything that I make a mess of, all my laundry, things like that.
So there you see that while she's doing this introduction video, you can have open-ended questions or closed-ended questions. So in this case, she taps some of it, but she's still explaining why she does some of the cleaning in the home. And so therefore, and this is just one example, but you can have all kinds of different quantitative and structured questions blended with the more open-ended questions to get rich set of structured data, as well as the depth and context behind that structured data. And that's what we call a video survey, for example, within QualSights. And it's used not just for interactivities, but a variety of different things. Another example, so this is another activity. Now, once they got past the introduction video, the next thing they were asked to do was a concept test. And in this case, it was around a new dishwashing liquid. And you'll see here the similar methodology, but in this case, the consumer clicks on a thumbnail, which expands to full screen, and she's able to see the stimuli and react to it. And so here's a concept test done within QualSights.
All right, Dawn Platinum. Stop scrubbing and start spraying. Dawn Platinum Power Wash Dish Spray is faster, easier, cuts through grease. Okay, so spraying versus just like pumping it in my sponge. I don't know how I feel about this. I feel like it would be easier for me to just pump Dawn into my sponge.
So you get the gut reaction and the instant reaction of the consumer in a much richer way than just doing a survey. Imagine just doing a, let's say, a concept test as a survey. The kind of results you'd get there is much less depth and context as you'd get here, because you can truly see her emotion, see how she doesn't really like it. She goes on to talk about how, she thinks she'd be kind of using too much. I, on a side note, I love this product, but that's the whole point, be able to see consumers' reaction, get their instinctive response to something, and do that not just for a concept that perhaps hasn't launched, being able to do that for packaging, being able to do that for copy. You can really use this in a variety of different ways. And that's a quick example to show you. Another activity that was mix and match in the same project was actually digital shopping. So understanding how consumers are shopping, in this case for laundry, online. And so here, right within the app, there's a screen capture aspect where consumers can capture their screen and voice over what they're doing. And so here it goes.
Okay, so the first thing I do when I look for laundry stuff is I will go to my go-to store, which is Instacart, because I do everything through grocery delivery. And usually I shop from Aldi. I don't buy laundry detergent a lot, but I like to price compare. I like Tide, so I will look and see how much Tide is.
You can see the entire process. She happens to use, a certain app, but you could actually have any app, any website automatically captured with the consumer kind of voicing over their thought process as to how they're doing something. And so being able to do this while they're searching for something or using certain blogs, for example, to using apps or shopping, whatever it may be, all can be captured, blending that with the physical world as well. Another activity kind of to give you like the concept. Doing it in this self-moderated fashion, but keep in mind, you could be doing it live. Similarly, even with the concept test, you could have done that live, but that happened to be asynchronous. It happened to be something that consumers can do at their own pace in this particular project. And therefore, it actually makes it easy on consumers, makes it faster for you, because you could launch a project on Friday and get done with it, come back to work on Monday and have the results, because a weekend is typically good enough for a few different activities. So in this case, now you'll see people in store. And I'm just going to play back a moment here to show you how that experience is like while at the shop.
What laundry products stand out to you, and why do you notice these products? Well, the products that stands out to me is Tide, obviously, because there's so much of it, and the color is really bright. So even if I wasn't a Tide,
so that gives you a quick sense. Now, keep in mind, any graininess or things like that you're seeing quality of the video is only because I'm screen sharing on Zoom. But typically, these are 720p HD videos, whether it's again in home and store, no matter what, live or recorded. Another example here is actually a live interactive kind of conversation. Now, this is purposefully not just an interview. This is actually an interactive and a mobile interview where the consumer, you could do this in the store, but I'm showing you an in-home example in this case, where the moderator is talking to the consumer in a two-way conversation, but the moderator is not seen, and that's by design, because the focus is on what the consumer is doing. In this case, the consumer is showing, using her back rear camera, showing a home and giving a tour of her home to show where she stores clean products and things like that. And there could be a completely fluid conversation between the moderator and the participant. At the same time, you still have an option to weave in those structured tasks and questions if you wanted to follow a certain process. And so you'll see that here in this video.
Hi, Taylor. Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for being willing to help us out and show us around your home a bit today.
Yeah, for sure. No problem.
As you may already be aware, there's going to be some prompts like you're seeing on your screen right now to kind of walk us through the exercise, but I might be chiming in with a couple of questions along the way if you don't mind.
Okay, for sure. No problem. All right, so this is my kitchen, so I'll walk around a little bit. So.
Okay. Hey, Taylor, question for you.
Yeah.
Where do you keep those in the kitchen? Can you show us?
Yeah, so these are all underneath the kitchen sink right here.
So look at that, being able to actually be with the consumer in their home, but being able to do that digitally. Of course, during times like COVID, this is of course extremely valuable because this is the next best thing to being there in person. In fact, we've actually done some studies to prove that people are more comfortable using their smartphone and showing their home or being in a store than they are if somebody was with them. And that's because then they tend to be more conscious, especially when there's one or more people sitting in their home, right? So people are much more comfortable nowadays kind of recording a video or doing it live like this, and therefore much more free in their actions. And so it's an exciting way to be able to get that depth with the ability to still be remote from your desk whether you're working from office or home. Another activity here before I switch gears into analysis is just a typical IDI, right? So this is a traditional IDI, two-way video, so you can do that too. Of course, you can do focus groups and a lot more, which I'm not going to get a chance to cover. You have a back room, as you see there on the bottom right, where you can interact amongst each other without the consumer ever not knowing you're there. There's no limit to the back room people, as to how many people are there. But you can also do, of course, screen sharing, the standard stuff. But we have also research-focused stimuli sharing, like you will see in this example.
I'm going to pull it up here on my screen. I'd like you to take a look at it. And first question would be, as you look at it, just kind of talk us through what your general thoughts and reactions to it are.
So it's split screen stimuli sharing purposefully so that you can actually see the consumer's reaction as well as see the stimuli at the same time. Being able to do things, whether it's an image, a PDF, a video, whatever it may be, being able to kind of do that in a purposeful way, being able to have bookmarking and notes, which I'll kind of show you shortly, tag them, whether you're watching something live or watching them recorded, collaborate as a team, all of that's sort of part of the platform. And I've now spent a lot of time showing you the different ways you can capture and mix and match these things. So think about this as happens to be home cleaning. Of course, we work in several different categories, whether that be CPG, or whether it be pharma, whether it be retail, consumer electronics, whatnot. But being able to actually blend those capabilities in your own use cases is really what we're encouraging here. Now, switching gears though, that was all around basically capture, but here's now a little bit about analysis. Now, I'm going to go into this. This was a demo project. Of course, you'll see very few people here, but there's a high-level kind of snapshot, top line of who's in the project, where they're from. You have all of the different sessions, the activities in the platform. We call them sessions, and so you see them all. You can kind of click on any of them. There are various different media types and so on, and kind of go deeper. As an example, I'm going to go back into that in-store shopping video here. And now, actually, when you scroll down to the video, you will see that there's a whole bunch of AI available. So this is all done within a few minutes of the video being complete. Videos are complete, automatically uploaded. If they're asynchronous, if they're live, they're continuously uploaded and kind of stored automatically. But in either case, within a few minutes after the video, you have these transcriptions, and if it was a different language, translations as well show up along with a whole bunch else. We can actually do transcriptions and translations in over 100 different languages, by the way, and 100 different languages. And then at the bottom right, you will see here that you can kind of follow along. So as she speaks, you can see what she's saying in the transcript. If there is a translation, you'll actually have a different tab. You have a local language transcript and an English translation. But more important than just the transcripts and translation is the keywords and topics. This was a shorter video focused squarely on cleaning while she's at the shelf. So you'll see just a few different topics here. But even more importantly than topics, you have these keywords. All of the relevant and important keywords are completely automatically kind of bubbled up for you. You don't have to set anything up in advance. This kind of shows up. And you can now skip to these important moments. So for example, if I want to click on the word expensive, I see she said it 2 times, the frequency, but I can actually skip to that moment just by clicking on it.
Just really
I can skip to the second moment as well.
If it wasn't so expensive.
So that helps you kind of find the moments that matter really fast, right? Just by a single click. Manually coding that and trying to find those would take you a long, long time. But beyond that, we show things like sentiment, emotions, both overall and at the moment level. We show different entities that we have seen. You have the ability to highlight something you like, right click to create a clip of it so you can put it into a presentation later. It clips not just the text, by the way, also the video associated with that text. You can bookmark moments, whether it's watching a live video or recorded video. You can rate things. even bookmarking things, not just flags them, but also automatically creates a clip that you can then use later. And we can do various other things
And
like
what's the
object and scene recognition, being able to skip to the shelf or skip to a certain product, or outdoors, indoors, different kinds of things as well. I don't have a chance to kind of go into that right now because I'm short on time. But then in terms of other kind of structured analysis, anytime you blend in the quant, whether it's just a survey or it's the video survey methodology where the lines are blurred, you actually see the quantitative charts that you would expect to see. You can export data, of course, as well. But you can also look at data in a tabularized format where it blends again all of the qual and all the quant responses, where you can see each consumer and you see all that they said for every single question. Because even though this was a long form video, let's say around doing laundry in this case, you can still actually see how each person answered each particular question or task, and therefore have the transcript of that and be able to visually, if you're the kind of person that likes to analyze by text, this is your view to be able to kind of analyze all at once and then kind of put them into your final presentation. And the final thing I'd like to show you today is this right here. It's perhaps the most powerful feature within the QualSights platform. It's really where, if you like to analyze things visually, you can view all of the moments in one place. So for example, here what you're seeing is the ability to filter videos down to particular moments, all done automatically and made available to you. We actually process videos hundreds of different times to get you this view. So for example, being able to look at any, for example, session or activity and taking any question, for example, this first question, please introduce yourself, and being able to automatically see each person's answer to that particular question. So even though these were long form videos where you had them answer a whole series of questions or show you a whole process of shopping or whatever it is, you can click down to right to that one moment to go to where person 1, 2, 3, 4, all of them answered just that one particular question. Similarly, you can click on keywords and objects and actually go and see all of the keywords across the project and click on something here, let's say laundry, that leads to the 23 times people actually talk about laundry in this project, and you automatically see clips that you can then use by just clicking on that one button because they're already kind of clipped for you and made available. Similarly, any of the tips, the clips and the bookmarks and other things that I've shown you before are all shown here, so your entire team can collaborate, filter by different clips or tags or notes that they've taken, and really kind of together, work together to kind of come up with that final analysis and dig up these interesting nuggets. And they're here purposefully because at the bottom here, you have the ability to actually put all of those things into different themes. These are just some very basic examples to show you, but you have the ability to drag and drop different moments into this different theme buckets. You can call them whatever you like. You can kind of move things up or down. You don't have to have any video editing expertise, but you can actually click the edit button to change the time to make it shorter or longer. You can actually put this into a presentation with captions and transitions and all that good stuff that I'm not going to get a chance to show you today, but that is a demo of CallSights. Thank you so much for watching today. I'm sure there's some questions that I may not have kind of answered here, so feel free to ask away in the chat. And in case I can't get to everything, feel free to use our website, QualSights.com, to kind of reach out to request a personalized demo or conversation, or even just send me an email at nihal@QualSights.com. Thank you again very much. And hope to talk to you all soon, and hope to see you all soon in person at a physical conference later this year, hopefully. Thank you all. Bye-bye.